Smith. I used to write for the Long Beach Post, and also I started my DC's Musings, which I stopped about a year ago for several different reasons, and someday I may tell everybody why. But I thought I'd do a couple of video things here for a while to see how those go, to put out some of my thoughts about what's going on in our nation, our state, and our community. I want to talk about the debt limit and show you some things that are kind of interesting. First of all, let's look at the debt. This is the U.S. debt clock, and you can see that we have almost $14.5 trillion in the debt, which is absolutely unbelievable. Here's our deficit right now, and you can see what the federal tax revenue is. Almost $2.2 trillion is the revenue. So there is definitely money coming in that's going to be able to make the payments on the debt, just that other people aren't going to get paid. So they're talking about the debt limit and lifting the ceiling up, and that we're going to be in default. And so they have these major talks going on as to what we can do, and we have to cut, and raise taxes. And this is what they're talking about. They're looking at $4 trillion, $4 trillion, that's 4, comma, 000, comma, 000, comma, 000, comma, 000. That's what they're looking at reducing in the deficit spending arena. So they want to lower the spending by $4 trillion over 10 years. Not per year, over 10 years. So we just saw that we have $14.5 trillion in debt, and they're looking at lowering total spending $4 trillion over 10 years. So what? Does it really matter? Let's take a look. Here we go. So this is pretty much what the deficit's been from January of 2009 to 2011. And then what they're looking at is basically lowering $4 trillion over 10 years, which is $400 billion a year. So they're still going to be spending almost $1 trillion a year more, and they're going to be having deficits of $800 billion instead of $1.2 trillion. The numbers are too big. They're going to have deficits of $800 billion instead of deficits of $1.2 trillion. This is the debt. So what they're looking at doing is bringing the debt only to $18 trillion by the year 2021. And that's if Congress doesn't enact any more spending along the way. So basically, we're arguing over peanuts to raise the debt ceiling. They're not going to do any major cuts. They're looking at cutting $4 trillion out of spending, and also through raising taxes over a 10-year period, which is only $400 billion a year. Obama spent $800 billion on a stimulus plan in January of 2009. And this only matters if that is flat spending for the rest of the 10-year period. If there's no other programs, if there's no other entitlements that are added on, if there's nothing, it ain't going to work. We need some serious restructuring of our federal government spending habits and our entitlement programs. Otherwise, you better learn how to speak Greece, because that's headed. Thank you for watching. Or as I should say to my Greek friends, Efcharisto.